Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video. So today I figured we'd do something a little bit different, and we're gonna recap on the Lake Norman event that Troy and I fished with Angler's Choice. So it was a 2-day event, 2 single day events, and we fished for 3 days. So we pre-fished Friday and then fished Saturday, Sunday. Neither of us had ever fished there before, but it's in North Carolina. It's a spotted bass lake. The water's really clear, and it truly reminds me of Smith Mountain Lake quite a bit. So Friday, we decided pre-fishing that we were going to jump around a ton of different sections of the lake. We ran all the way to the dam and fished well up above the bridge where we launched, like up on the upper end of the lake where it's a bit dirtier. But we learned quite a bit, and again, touching back on how it reminds me of Smith Mountain Lake, that really got us quickly throwing baits that you'd throw in clean water. So drop shots, mag draft, jerk bait, and a glide bait as well. The key bait for us pre-fishing was actually the 6-inch mag draft. So if you guys haven't thrown these, you should definitely check them out. They come in a bunch of different sizes. This is the 6-inch. They even have one as small as the 5-inch. They have an 8-inch. And then they have the big boy, the 10-inch mag draft. Now this thing is just absolutely ginormous, but the beauty of these baits is that they skip so well. It's like a Senko, honestly, and it draws a lot of reactions. It draws a lot of follows from fish too, so you'll at least be able to see them, and that was kind of the hope when we started throwing them around. But it seemed like we were getting immediate reactions or an immediate response from fish once we were throwing these, and it just, again, with that clean water, it reminded me of Smith Mountain Lake. So I tied up a mag draft, and I think I got bit on like the first cast, and then we probably caught 15 fish on Friday, all on mag drafts, and then the first fish of the day on Saturday was also a mag draft fish, and we ended up catching a few more. So as far as the setup I was throwing the mag drafts on, it was obviously dependent on the size, and I really only threw the 6-inch and the 8-inch, but for the 6-inch I was throwing a 7.4 medium heavy with 20-pound fluoro. Honestly, you could probably get away with throwing this on like a 7-foot medium heavy with 15-pound test, but with where we were skipping it up under the docks, I just really didn't want to get hung up and broke off or stuck. With the 8-inch, I was throwing this on a 7-11 extra heavy rod, actually more parabolic. I found it just a little bit easier slinging this bigger bait around on the bigger rod. Moving on to the second most productive bait for us down at Norman, and that was this white Megabass spinnerbait. So I was throwing the spinnerbait around on a 7.3 medium heavy 15-pound fluorocarbon, and I really like this spinnerbait because it's super small and compact, and the only issue that I see with it, and actually I guess I could say the only recommendation I can make while throwing this, is that I would recommend throwing this with a trailer hook, specifically because this wire on this spinnerbait is actually pretty freaking tough. Like, it's a solid wire, and I think that a lot of the times when the fish come up behind it or from under it or wherever they're coming from and eating it, they eat the whole bait. And as you can see right here with this back willow leaf blade, like when they get the whole bait and they crunch down, I think it almost covers the hook, and when you set the hook it pulls it out of their mouth. So I'd recommend throwing this spinnerbait specifically with a trailer hook. Besides that, phenomenal bait. I catch so many fish on this little thing, and it's one of my favorite new spinnerbaits to throw. Definitely when you want to find something that's a little bit on the smaller size. So again, we did catch quite a few fish on drop shots as well once the sun got up and we were losing a lot of that wind from the morning. We had to downsize and really slow down, and we were catching them on robo worms. So I won't touch on that too much, as I'm sure most of you know what robo worms are, but the last bait is definitely the most exciting and probably one of my favorite ways to catch fish, but especially my favorite way to catch fish in tournaments. And when it's on, it's on. Like, if you get around groups of fish or an area with a lot of fish in it and they're eating this glide bait, it's unbelievable. So this is a 7-inch taxi shad from Fish Everything. Not available on ACM Tackle yet, but I heard that they're making a custom color for me, and there's going to be a drop on there somewhere down the road. So make sure that you are signed up for ACM Tackle's email list, and you'll be notified when that bait is going to drop, and I'll be sure to make another note on that as well. But love throwing the glide bait. Like, if you get that good solid wind and you find fish under docks or around any sort of cover that you can pull them off of, I love it. I think it shows you fish of all sizes, whether that's small or absolutely huge, and when they're eating it, it's on. like the end of that second day. It's what actually got Troy and I into the money, was fishing the glide bait. So super stoked on it. I was overly elated with the fish and the fish that we're eating. I throw this around on a 7-Eleven extra heavy or the 8.6 extra heavy iRod Genesis 2. You definitely want a bigger stout rod when you're throwing glides. I personally like them to be on the stiffer side as well. A lot of guys like the parabolic action when it comes to throwing glides, but I want something that I can pin them and just winch them right into the boat and boat flip them. But that's a quick overview of the baits that worked for Troy and I down at Lake Norman. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on Angler's Choices YouTube channel. Also, all of these baits are available down in the description below over at acmtackle.com. If you use my code SB10, you can save yourself 10% on the entire order. Thanks again for watching, guys. See you on the next one.